Hello, everybody. Welcome back to NoCox McNugs. It's been a while, but we are back. With me, as always, my good friends and co-hosts, Anthony and Nat. What's good, guys?
Nothing to it but to do it. How are you guys?
Doing well, man. It's been a long time, but I'm back and I'm ready.
It has been way too long, fellas. Way too long.
We're going to go back to the World Series and quickly recap that. I'm going to look into the biggest NBA blockbuster on the trade market and on a different trade market, as well as Noah and I attended the tour of the year this year, so we will recap that as well as the album. We have our Week 13 NFL picks, Nad and I do, and we also have a couple games to check out as well. We're going to start with the World Series. Nad, your thoughts overall on how it took place and how everything, how everyone got to where they got?
Frankly, I was really surprised Boston got through as easily as they did. After they got through Houston, it was pretty much a matter, at least to me, of how many games they were going to take the World Series in. Happened in 5. They made LA make a lot of mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, it was a good series for how short it was.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of moving parts in it. Like, obviously you had the connection between Dave Roberts and the 04 team that broke the curse, and then you had the first meeting between two minority managers in World Series history. That was a big story as well. And then the longest game in MLB playoff history, in the 18-inning game that took like 7 hours. And ironically, that was the only game that LA won. But yeah, they couldn't fight the elements in Boston, and then Boston just took a chokehold on them, and their pitching staff really won out, especially in those last 2 games. Congrats to the Boston Red Sox on another banner year. They are probably set to repeat, or at least be a pretty good, have pretty good odds to do so. What do you think?
I absolutely agree. I mean, they're at least got to be the favorites to win the AL East again, unless Spankies can get it together.
Yeah, I mean, they did. I don't know if you heard, they did get James Paxton.
I did, and I think you're right, though, that Boston is at least has to be in the conversation as the favorites for next year.
Yeah, they're young. They have most of their talent locked up for a good amount of years. Everything that was wrong with them was essentially right, with David Price kicking his playoff woes, as well as Chris Sale as well. He had his specific problems with the Yankees and the playoffs overall. So and of course they've always had the bats. But yeah, it was a good fun series and a good season overall too. We'll go from baseball to the biggest blockbuster trade in the NBA that's taken place thus far, with Jimmy Butler heading to Philly from Minnesota in exchange for Robert Covington, Dario Saric, and was it 1 or 2 first-round picks? Do you know, Ned?
If I remember correctly, I think it was 2.
That sounds right. What were your thoughts on the trade overall and just the whole saga that ensued beforehand?
Well, I'm a little torn because I thought he was doing pretty good in a very small market there in Minneapolis, almost pulling another Kevin Garnett.
Yeah.
Trying to make that franchise relevant. But I think it works out best for him. He's got some really good players around him, especially with Embiid being that big man. They can have a 1, 2, 3 punch.
Really, what I think the biggest difference, and I mean you can sound off on whether you agree or disagree, but I think the biggest difference was him getting more of a proven point guard, because you got D Rose. He's had a great story this season with how he had the turn back the clock game where he put up 50 in replacing Jeff Teague. But both of them, they're really not premier point guards, and especially not defensively. And that was a big problem of Minnesota's, was stopping anybody. And it's kind of ironic with Thibodeau being their coach, who used to be the kind of defensive mastermind for the Celtics when Doc was running the show there. I mean, because Embiid, Karl Anthony Towns, you can argue that different skill sets to an extent, but you can argue that they cancel out as far as talent's concerned at the 5. But, Ben Simmons beats the shit out of Teague and Rose at the 1.
Well, I think one of the most underrated players is going to be helping out, and that's J.J. Redick.
Yeah, he's starting now.
So you got Simmons, you got Redick, you got Fultz, you got Embiid, and you got Butler, and then you get a pretty deep bench. I don't know if this year is their year with Butler.
Right.
But they at least get a step closer than last year.
Oh, yeah, I agree. And also, I believe they have decent cap space to possibly sign him to that big deal that he wanted that he couldn't get in Minnesota. I mean, he was able to get a pretty good deal, but I think it was only for 4 years, and he wanted more money and time. But yeah, I think he is in a much better situation. Obviously chemistry will come into question just being a new player and, his strong-headedness and their youth. I think that could be something that makes each side butt heads, because, young players are going to make mistakes, and Buckets isn't really about people fucking up because he's pretty much always on his shit, at the very least from an effort standpoint. And I mean, the proof's on the floor already. I mean, Butler's had 2 or 3 buzzer beaters this week, so proved to be a great move thus far, and I think it'll only get better with time coming together as well. I think they were already a top 4 team in the East, but I think this probably solidifies them in the top 3. What do you think?
It's an arguable point. I do think they're at least a top 5. My concern with the current setup right now, or I should say the standings in the East, is when is Toronto going to fall with Indiana playing the way they are and Milwaukee pretty much shutting people up. I think Philly could easily be a top 3 seed by the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Toronto will be fine at least for the regular season, which is what I was referring to. And I think that the chemistry of Philly will, solidify over the regular season, and it'll make for a much more interesting playoffs in the East, probably than the West, just because you already know who's going to be in the finals pretty much, barring injury, and the Warriors. Noah, Ashley, and I, my girlfriend, we had a tremendous time at the Travis Scott Astroworld Tour. The tour of the year, in my opinion. I mean, it's the album of the year. At least it was number 1 for a good couple months. I haven't checked recently, but
and see what's funny is that was my first hip hop show, and it was like on par with any metal show I've ever been to. Like, it was fucking awesome. The showmanship, the presentation, everything about it was just the atmosphere. Even everything was just fucking beautifully done, beautifully engineered. Everything was fucking made for a hell of an experience.
And that's kind of why I wanted you to see him specifically, because he does his all that, like you said, showmanship and presentation really does have the setup of a rock show. I mean, that's why
for sure, dude,
he named the first album Rodeo, because that's what he refers to his concerts as. And I mean, like, there were huge ass pits on the floor.
Fuck yeah, dude. Like, I was really, really impressed.
And the place was sold out. I mean, because it was at the American Airlines Center in Dallas, which seats about 20K, almost 21, and then the floor was filled up as well. So you'd think there's at least a good 25,000.
I didn't see many unset patches in the stands either.
Yeah, you definitely have to drop a good stack on it, but it was. And I think you got the bang for your buck.
Big thanks to Anthony and Asher for hooking me up with the ticket.
Yeah, definitely, no problem, dude. It was a lot of fun.
It was a very, very good time.
I'm glad that you enjoyed it and that you were able to come with.
Yes, fantastic.
As far as the show itself, we greatly enjoyed it, but I went to the concert, the Bird's Eye View in Oklahoma City last year for the Birds in the Trap tour, and it's interesting because I think because it was, a smaller, like 3,000 to 5,000 general admission, that the intimacy of the, being more close and everything kind of made the experience better. But I feel like, obviously, just because it was, there's like 25,000 people, like, it's a full house going crazy. No, even though we weren't as close, but we still had great seats.
Yeah, the atmosphere itself was enough to fucking just. It made it. I felt alive as shit, bro. Like I was feeling good. Like
And
it was a good time.
and I liked his. I liked the set list better in this one too, just because. I mean, the set list in the first one was great, and I think it could partially be just because I think Astroworld, in my opinion, was a better album than Birds in the Trap, and also what really distinguished that for me was the fact that he did a lot more of the mixtape songs this time around from Days Before Rodeo, with songs like Drugs You Should Try It and Don't Play. The song with Big Sean, although Big Sean wasn't there, but and then he did 3 to 5 from the mixtape as well as most of Astroworld. Touched on a good bit of Birds in the Trap as well, and even threw in some rodeo tracks from his first album too.
Through the Late Night, when he did that one, that's one of my favorite songs by him. So like when he did that, I was like, hell yeah, let's go. Fucking go, boy.
Yeah, that I would say that one was one of the biggest ones, and then for me, my favorite song off of Astroworld was Houston Fornication, so I really loved seeing that live because it wasn't one of the bigger songs on the album, so it's kind of a question mark whether it would be played or not, but thankfully it was. What else? Oh yeah, Antidote from the first album, his first single really. That one like tore the place up. Everyone went nuts for that shit. So that was, I would argue that was probably like the most hyped song of the night, you could say. Did you get a chance to listen to the whole album, Noah?
Yeah, man, I've heard most of it. I haven't heard its entirety, just because like I don't like devote time to that. If I have time, I'll listen to it, you know. Mm-hmm. But I haven't gotten like all the way through. I'm probably about 12 tracks in. How many tracks is it?
18.
18, yeah. So I'm most of the way through. It's just when I feel listening to it, I just hop on it and I just let it play until I got my fix.
I feel you. Of what you heard, what's your favorite?
I couldn't tell you like the tracks off the top of my head, but there was one he played at the show that's on that album that I really enjoyed. But I couldn't tell which one it was. Mm-hmm. But from what I've heard, that's some of the best stuff I've heard from him.
Yeah, they for me, like as I said, my favorite track off the album I think was, it's either 16 or 17. I want to say it's 17 with Houston Fornication, but there's really only like 1 or 2 songs I could have done without, and I say did without just in the sense that it's not like I hated them. Like every song I can fuck with for sure.
For sure.
And it was just a well done album. It's always well done from an A&R standpoint.
Absolutely.
With him and his camp, and the show was amazing too. The album,
I can't wait to go to another one, man.
Yeah, album was 10 out of 10. I would argue it's probably the album of the year, and I think most of the populace agree with as far as sales and streaming go as well.
I'm going to switch genres here. So in the first show, remember we talked about Tim Lambesis from As I Lay Dying, how he went through a bunch of shit, did a bunch of shit, got caught doing some shit he shouldn't have been doing, that kind of thing, and then he got put in jail. We were talking about him getting let out earlier this past year, and so we were talking about that, and then a few months ago, I think it was either late August or early September, As I Lay Dying, the entire band just dropped a new single called My Own Grave. Metal cliches out the motherfucking ass, I tell you what. As I Lay Dying in My Own Grave. That just sounds like a fucking suicidal girl's wrists. Anyway, so...
Sideways cuts for attention as well.
Exactly. Sideways for attention, long ways for results.
Damn right, Meg.
As far as the single itself goes, it's on par with As I Lay Dying's previous work. They haven't really changed their sound much. It's good to see Tim back in his element, and I feel like with those brilliant minds together, they can really... if all the bullshit can get set aside, all the, bad blood, just let that, let bygones be bygones. I think that... Because I feel like that whole thing was very humbling for him. He does not seem like the same person he was. I don't know the man. I could be wrong. But from what I've seen, I feel like there's been some change there. So I hope I'm right. I could be wrong. It happens. But that's what I'm saying. The single, and like I said, the single itself is good. It's, like I said, it's on par with As I Lay Dying's previous work, and I can't wait to hear more of what they have to offer.
Is there
as the years come?
Sorry, is there an album accompanying the single, or was it just a release on its own?
I haven't seen any like official stuff on Instagram for it. That doesn't mean there's nothing happening there. There might be, a recording in process of a new album.
Yeah.
But I off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you.
I feel you. Yeah, and it's just cool to hear them do music again. I mean, it's been 6 years since their last work, right?
Mm-hmm. Not Powerless Rise. What was it? Oh, what was it? God damn it! I can't think of the last album name. I'll have to fucking figure that shit out and tell you before the end of the show.
Nad and I have some money riding this year on our weekly NFL Pick'em, which we have for you right now. $20 a week. We started last week. I picked up the dub, so hopefully I can continue that. We didn't really pick too much opposite of each other, but the couple or three that we did, I was able to nab from him. But it was a lot of fun and should be a lot of fun moving forward. Nad, who do you have, first of all, in the Thursday game in Dallas with the Saints and Cowboys?
Before I get to that, I just got one thing to say about last week. Screw you, Pittsburgh.
I told you they weren't real, bro.
I see it, and I bought into the hype.
Who do you have for the Thursday night game?
Thursday night game, New Orleans at Dallas. I'm going with the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can stop how hot they are right now. And granted, I know a hot team screwed me over last week, but
right.
The Saints are real.
Yeah.
And so is Drew Brees this year.
I agree. I'm going with the Saints as well. Even though the Cowboys are hot as well, and they're at home, which they do play better there, I just can't see them beating New Orleans, especially because the Saints defense has stepped it up specifically in the last 3 weeks of their 8 or 9 game win streak they're on right now. Who do you got in the Ravens-Falcons game?
Ravens-Falcons, I think I'm going with the Bird team.
There's 2 of them.
Yeah, I was going to say there's 2 of those, bro. Gotta make up your mind.
With the road team, I'm picking Baltimore. Atlanta, I think, has been a very... Actually, it's not the biggest letdown this year for a lot of people.
I would agree. They're definitely top 3 to 5 for sure across the league. The Ravens are catching fire lately. Albeit against worse teams, this will be really their first test of their current streak and the rest of their season. But I think the Ravens take it in Atlanta. Who do you have in New York, or I guess New Jersey, honestly, for Bears-Giants?
I think it's almost a lot that you have to go with Chicago, even with Trubisky being questionable. They might make it a game time decision, but Chase Daniel, he was okay last week against Detroit, although Detroit's awful, like normal.
Right.
But that Giants defense, after blowing that huge lead against Philly,
yeah,
and then
at home,
the Bears defense being back.
Yeah, definitely. Mac attack will be in full force, and regardless of who the quarterback is, it's the fucking Giants, and their season is poopy. So I'm gonna have to go with the Bears as well. Who do you got in the crap fest of Bills versus Dolphins in Miami?
Oh gosh, I kind of want to go root for the replacement refs a couple years ago, but I've got Miami at home due to the home field advantage. Both teams are garbage in a 3-team garbage fest for the bottom spot in the AFC East.
Yeah, I'm going with the Dolphins as well, just mainly because of the home field advantage. I really don't have any confidence in them, but I'm thinking, they'll play better in that god-awful humidity. Dolphins defense can show up when it wants to, and the Bills really don't have that high-powered of an offense, so really if they can, make them one-dimensional and make Allen beat them, I think they can get the win. Who do you got in Green Bay for Cardinals-Packers?
I'm absolutely taking Green Bay. They're pissed off after losing to the Vikings.
Yeah.
Arizona's got a garbage defense, and I think Rodgers gets his mojo back.
I agree. I'm taking the Packers as well. Due to that weather, the rookie quarterback in Arizona and Rosen. And also, they just got their ass kicked like 45-10 in San Diego, and that's good weather. So, I mean, you take it to Green Bay, who knows what they'll do. And obviously, like you said, the Packers are pissed off losing the Vikings, and Rodgers normally doesn't get into losing streaks, especially at home, so I'm taking Packers as well. Who do you have in Detroit with the Rams and the Lions?
This is one of my almost locks this week, and it's going for LA on the road. That overall passing and rushing, it's an absolute two-headed monster there for the Rams, and that defense for Detroit, they're not going to be able to stop Todd Gurley.
I'm taking the Rams as well. The Rams have been insanely good, and the Lions don't even know who they are, so how can you have any confidence in them, especially against, arguably the best team in the NFL, regardless of being at home or not? Who do you have in the Colts-Jaguars game in Florida?
I've got Indy on the road.
Yeah, I agree. I'm taking the Colts as well. I don't think Kessler has shit against the Colts, especially versus Luck, if anything. Although it is more of a toss-up just because, the Colts just had to fucking come back against the Dolphins at home, and they suck too. So, the Colts aren't necessarily a powerhouse. They are for real. I will give them that. They have won like 5 or 6 in a row now, but I think just because the Jags are in such turmoil that I don't think this is one that they can get, if they get any more this year at all. Who do you got down in Tampa with Panthers-Bucks?
I've got Carolina for almost one of the same reasons I picked Green Bay, losing on a last-second field goal after having just a cutthroat game with Seattle last week, only for Graham Gano to miss the 52-yarder and then let Seattle drive and win it at the end. At home,
no less.
Yeah, at home. They're pissed. It's a division game against a Tampa team that, although they looked great last week against the Niners, it is the Niners. So I'm going with Carolina. They're going to steamroll. Cam's going to have a hell of a game.
Just really, the Bucks are overmatched, and they don't even know what the fuck they're doing, honestly. Anybody. They can't keep a quarterback for more than 2 weeks. Their coach is probably gone after this season. I don't give a shit if they're at home. Carolina's probably going to stomp the fuck out of them. Who do you have in Houston with the Browns and the Texans?
I like what Cleveland looked like the past couple weeks, really. And Baker, as much as I don't like him as a person, the kid can play. After Monday night, Houston getting that huge boost from beating Tennessee.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick with the Texans at home.
Me too. I think, I think the Texans are too hot, especially at home, to be beaten right now, especially by an inconsistent Browns team, at least over the season as a whole. Who do you got in Cincinnati with the Broncos and Bengals?
I've got Von Miller and the Von Millers.
I agree. Cincinnati's another team that's just a fucking shit show, and they just lost, arguably one of their only consistent players in Dalton, and even saying he's consistent is in question. And, Green, he hasn't played in a couple weeks, and they've looked even worse. Broncos are hot right now, just beating 2 really good teams in the Chargers and the Steelers. They're fighting for Vance Joseph's job, and I think they're going to get their 3rd in a row in Cincinnati. Who do you got in the thriller in Oakland with the Chiefs and the Raiders?
Oh, gosh. How soon can Oakland move to Vegas?
Right.
After this game? Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes is wow. There's no way Oakland can keep up, much less stop Kansas City.
Yeah, and Oakland doesn't have shit for them. Kansas City has way better skill players. Like you said, Mahomes is making the NFL look like the Big 12. And yeah, I think this one's going to be at least a 3-touchdown roller, regardless of it being on the road or not. Who do you have in Seattle with the Niners and the Seahawks?
I've got Seattle. San Francisco has been in shambles since Jimmy G went down early in the season. and they're playing a Seattle team that does not like the Niners. They don't like anything about the Niners. And with it being in Seattle, that 12-man is going to be loud. It's going to be ruckus. And Seattle, coming off that great win against Carolina, they're just going to steamroll San Francisco. I say at least 3 to 4 touchdown lead.
I couldn't say that much just because I don't know if the Seahawks offense is that consistent. Their defense can definitely hold up against a lackluster Niners offense. I just don't know if the Seahawks offense will, have enough to do that much. But I think they'll easily win still regardless, especially at home, which they play like 4 or 5 of their last 6 in Seattle. I think this one's an easy win for them regardless. Who do you have in Tennessee with the Jets and Titans?
It's kind of hard. I am taking Tennessee at home. New York surprisingly looked okay against the Patriots last week.
They always play them pretty well at home.
Yeah, true. So yeah, I've got the Titans at home. I think it might be a touchdown only.
Yeah, I agree. I think they might. I think they'll win by at least 10, but I'm still taking the Titans just because they really need this fucking game. It won't be as big of an issue just because the Jets are the Jets. Who do you got in your home with the Pats and the Vikings?
My heart says one thing, but my head keeps flip-flopping. I am going to take New England at home. That two-headed rushing attack they've got now with Michelle and James White. It's just, I think it's going to be a shootout, but I think Brady gets us there.
I tentatively agree. I am going with the Pats as of now, but I wouldn't be surprised if I do change this pick by kickoff, just because the Pats, they'll just have some clunkers every now and then, and the Vikings, they just got a big win against Green Bay, who's not they're kind of on the downfall right now, but I mean, it is a divisional win, it is against a rival, and the Vikings do have a lot of potential, and I think that it'll definitely be a close game either way. I'm gonna go with the Pats for now though as well. Who do you have in the Sunday night game with the Chargers and Steelers?
But I am taking the Chargers on the road. Phillip Rivers has shown a lot better production this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Steelers at home just because they're definitely pissed off losing to the Broncos the way that they did, just beating themselves, which is what they do normally when they do lose. And then who do you have in the Monday night game with the Redskins and Eagles?
Both teams are kind of in shambles right now, even though technically the Redskins are still tied for first in that god-awful NFC East.
Yeah.
I've got Philly at home, just with what they did last week, having to come back against the Giants, and then with Alex Smith being down and out for the rest of the year. I don't think Cole McCoy can quite get the Redskins there. This might be one of the ones I might flip-flop before kickoff. But for right now, tentatively, I have Philly at home.
I do as well. I think I'm a little more sure in it just because they need it more, and they're at home, and it's a divisional game, and they have what it takes to win. It's just about really just putting it together, and I think that with the decimation of injuries to the Redskins, most notably recently with Alex Smith's horrific leg injury, I think that I don't think they have enough to combat Philly, at the very least, from their offensive standpoint.
Going from the Gridiron to the Gunslingers is probably one of the hottest games out right now.
I would say definitely one of the hottest games of the year for sure. But now go ahead and tell us about Red Dead. I know you've been playing it. How far into it are you?
I'm only a couple hours into the story. For me, I'm loving the open world aspect of it. Just the same thing where you can go off of the main mission with another Rockstar game, with GTA 5 especially.
Yeah.
And see, I've said it once, I'll say it again. I love open world games, and as soon as I get a chance, I'm definitely gonna buy a copy of Red Dead. I played the first one a little bit, didn't get too terribly far into it, just because it really wasn't my style. But I mean, with everyone, with all the hype around it, I'm willing to give it another try. I've heard the amazing things about the first one, and I'm hoping, and what I've heard about the second one, I should. It's a franchise I should definitely be on.
Noah, with being a PlayStation gentleman as you are, they're actually bringing out a bunch of first access and a lot of the exclusive content stuff to the PlayStation 4.
Oh shit!
Xbox One.
Hell yes.
Including
So I mean that's even more incentive for me to get it then.
There you go.
And for those looking at getting a PS4 for Red Dead, they are going to be coming out with a Red Dead PS4 Pro bundle.
Fuck yes, dude. Tax return, here I come.
There you go.
I need an upgrade on my PS4, man. I'm running around with a fucking first generation PS4, which it runs fine.
Yeah.
It's just like I just wish I had something a little faster.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, fucking the PS network is always slow as fuck. That's been one of the biggest, like especially like when you download new shit and everything.
Oh, dude.
Like it takes like a day.
Yes, it's fucking ridiculous. It's like having to update games that when you get them.
Exactly. Yeah.
And having to fucking go through all that shit to just to play a game.
You're lucky if it's 8 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's frustrating as hell. Yeah, it's lovely. It's good time waiting for games.
As of recording day, those who have the Ultimate Edition, aka the pre-order, were able to finally hit the beta of the online multiplayer.
Oh shit! Were you one of those pre-orders, Ned?
I did not. I waited a week just to let it go back down to $60.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure. Games are expensive as shit, bro.
Yeah.
But they are oddly enough, they are releasing the beta in parts, depending on when you played.
Mm-hmm.
So today, November 27th, they released it in the morning for those who have the Ultimate Edition. Tomorrow, which would be November 28th, is open for those who play it on release day.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday, the 29th, open for those who played it in the first 3 days.
Okay.
Or you played it from October 26th to the 29th.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get it Thursday. For everyone else, it's Friday. Correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first time I've ever seen a beta release like this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't keep up with a lot of beta releases. I mean, this is the first time I'm hearing about the Red Dead beta. So I don't know anything you don't know.
Fair enough, I guess you know nothing.
That's one way of putting it.
So, I mean, going from one game that I was super hyped about, is there something coming out that you want to talk about, Noah?
Yeah, man. So earlier this year at QuakeCon, id Software and Bethesda revealed gameplay for the new Doom game, Doom Eternal. It looks fucking sick as hell. There's about a 26-minute long segment on YouTube from QuakeCon with them debuting different concept art and several minutes of gameplay footage from the new game. So, Nad, you watched the video pretty recently, actually. What do you think of it?
I did, and frankly, we need this game yesterday.
No, I totally agreed. I want to fuck with that wrist-mounted blade so much. Like, for those of you who haven't seen it, the Doomslayer's now got like a wrist-mounted blade. It's fucking crazy. Like, there's so much cool gameplay, so many new mechanics, so many new like add-ons for the weapons and whatnot. You've got a grappling hook that you can like use to like latch on enemies and pull yourself toward them. I mean, the whole combat system just seems totally unplugged, and I feel like there's they've created even more ways to be as destructive and effective as possible in slaughtering the baddest demons of hell.
I love, at least from the gameplay trailer, I love the look of it. My first thought was that first-person shooter mixed with Diablo, and I really like what you were talking about with. It's more of a Halo look. Yeah,
I remember mentioning to you that I got a really big Halo feel from it, just because, and especially on the segment of gameplay where he's on Phobos, I thought that was really cool. Like it had a very Halo-esque feel to it. Instead of battling the Covenant, you're taking on Hell. So, but yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to this game. It looks fucking insane, and I've noticed that there were quite a few non-politically correct jokes thrown in just to piss off the snowflakes in the crowd too. If you want to know what I'm talking about, go to the Doom Eternal gameplay on YouTube and you'll see what I mean. There are several jokes in there that are sure to rile up the liberals in your neighborhood. Next week we're going to bring you I'm going to bring you a review of the new Spider-Man game by Marvel and Insomniac Games. So be looking out for that.
All right, now we head back to the hardwood, but in more ways than one. Big story that broke out on Saturday, the 24th. Allegations that Dwight Howard had been in a transsexual relationship with a transgendered woman. She has come out on Twitter recently just putting Dwight on blast about not only keeping their relationship under wraps, but also cheating on her, as at least to her knowledge, that they were in a committed relationship, and that he was not only cheating on her, but doing so at transsexual orgy parties.
See, now, I feel like if you're in a relationship with a transgender person, I feel like you would make it known to them that you're committed to them. If there was ever a doubt in this chick's mind that he wasn't committed to her, mm-hmm. that should have been, pointed out from the get-go.
True. I'm just gonna give you a rundown of this article, which is on. I'm getting this from BET.com. We'll put the link up on our Instagram and Twitter pages. So it says the alleged ex-partner of Dwight Howard is calling out the Washington Wizards Center for threatening violence against her. He has been stalking, threatening, and harassing her. She came out with these allegations on her Twitter page.
Now, has he responded to any of this, or is it her just fucking throwing shit at him?
There has been no public response from Dwight Howard as of this moment, but she started on November 24th, which was Saturday. Then she goes on to say, "My good sis was a prostitute, but as my friend took a deeper look into her page, she actually hosted transgender sex parties that Dwight Howard allegedly often attends. So yes, I lost my mind. I didn't mind cheating, but you're allegedly a transgender sex party, sticking your penis in everyone raw? Okay, Magic Johnson 2.0 with amnesia." That shit was fucking hilarious.
I didn't even see that shit. Oh my god.
Then it says she was woken up to a threatening phone message from someone she claims is Dwight Howard, and even posted the audio to it. She says, "So this is the someone else, a transgender prostitute that he also had a quote-unquote understanding with." And it has a picture of the woman. Like I said, he has not publicly responded to these allegations. We will be keeping you updated with developments on this. Dwight Howard has been on and off the bench with injury, and the injury is literally to his butt.
Spending too much time with the trannies.
Yeah. It's just crazy because it's just like, he's got to stick out like a sore thumb. He's a 7-footer at a tranny party. I mean, unless... Yeah. I mean, they're probably wearing heels, so maybe they're looking at eye to eye, but...
Maybe they have to, stand, on each other's shoulders and, fucking... One person on top of, a strap-on or some shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If they got a 7-footer catching, it's pretty fucking impressive, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Props to the trannies.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that just must be that much harder of a situation for him. But I don't know how he can come back.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because he's going to get mad shit going on road games. Like, you know, not only, like, this comes out and then he's had a fucking butt injury all fucking year. Like, you can't write that shit. It's too perfect. And, you know, it almost makes you wonder if he'll just completely retire and drop out of the public eye in a whole, as, you know, completely.
One can only wonder. All right, well, that's going to do it for us. Thank you guys so much for listening. We're so fucking glad to be back. I really can't express to you how excited we all are to be doing this once again. And before we end, I have one more thing to say. Awakened was the last album released by As I Lay Dying before the hiatus. I told you I'd tell you before the end of the show. And I just did. All right.
As I Lay Dying, Awakened?
Right, exactly. Oh, the irony.
How? Goddamn zombie rockers.
Alright guys, until next time, we will see you later. I'm Noah.
I'm Anthony.
And I'm Nat.